Our research focuses on the impact of credit counseling and business mentoring on demand for credit amongst the youth. There is unbalanced access to credit, and we would like to understand the demand side factors that determine demand for credit in addition to supply side issues. We would like to focus on personal factors such as knowledge, awareness, and risk tolerance, and their contribution to demand for credit amongst Ugandan youth. The demand side factors are usually factors related to the beneficiary of a program or an intervention. The demand side issues have a lot to do with personal attributes, a person's demographic and economic, socioeconomic situation, their community characteristics, and their knowledge and their attitudes to the program. The supply side factors, on the other hand, relate to aspects of the program that make it possible for the beneficiaries to actually access the intervention.
The program is actually hinged on a government program that was started as a way of supporting youth through a youth venture capital fund. Basically, the youth venture capital fund was started with following the outcries of youth in terms of lack of financial facilities to enable them run their businesses. So government came with the Youth Venture Capital Fund with an intention to assist, enhance the youth in their businesses by providing additional finances to enable them expand their businesses, and of course to assist in the growth of small, micro and medium enterprises.
What happened actually is not as it was expected. There was a continuous outcry by the youth that there's imbalanced access, unfair access. Some of them are not actually able to access the fund. And this was quite surprising because government had made sure that it's rolled out through banks that have a nationwide coverage, and government had made sure that it relaxes all conditionalities on the fund, so that there is almost free access, besides a few conditions such as making sure you have a guarantor, putting in a valid business proposal. There was no requirement for collateral like any other loan facility would need. And recently, government also dropped the requirement for a high education attainment. So it should have led to a higher demand for the credit facility. But the youth continued to show concern, and it actually culminated in demonstrations in some instances, as they said the fund is not accessible, it's not fair, and they continue not to have access in some sections of the youth population. What happened is the team chose to consult with the key stakeholders in government. The Ministry of Education and Sports attributed this outcry to a lack of soft skills. The current business skilling curriculum focused more on the technical skills. The Ministry of Gender, on the other hand, felt that, well, the youth just need further training in entrepreneurship and business management with a specific focus on financial management issues. The Uganda Investment Authority attributed it to awareness, lack of awareness and knowledge. It's worsened by the current business environment that is very volatile in Uganda. So the research team felt that all these issues relate more to the personal inhibitions that would actually deter someone from accessing a credit facility, and felt that it's time we studied these with a less focus on demand, on supply side issues, and a greater focus on the demand side issues that relate to the person or the beneficiary, who is the youth in this case. The team chose to focus on knowledge, awareness, and risk tolerance as factors that could affect demand for credit. The research is going to involve a real-life trial of an intervention on youth aged 18 to 30 years. They will be taken through a business mentoring training. They will receive credit counseling. This will be done to a specially selected group of youth that are supposedly representative of the entire youth population. They will be supported in their loan application with 2 interventions. One is the business mentoring, to prepare a proper business plan that is submitted along with their loan application. The other is credit counseling through one-on-one sessions with business counselors.
We also intend to actually introduce successful business persons to sort of like give confidence to the youth that business can actually be undertaken, and also give them confidence that they can actually take on credit and be able to pay it back. The successful business persons are actually supposed to help allay the fears that we believe are inhibiting the youth from accessing the credit that is available to them. The main users of the results of our research will of course be the policy implementers, and that is government, because we expect that when we come up with our results, considering the fact that when they were starting the venture capital fund, it wasn't driven on research, it will assist in improving on how to put across the mechanism, and of course to also influence the curriculum to include the necessary training to deal with aspects that have to do with self-efficacy and also dealing with risk amongst the youth. And of course we also want to target the NGOs that are specifically in charge of youth programs, because these ones actually reach out to the youth much faster than even what is being done within government and policy. So we expect that these will be in a better position to actually encourage the youth, to give them skills that are necessary, and based on the results of the research, they will know how to impart the kind of knowledge and training that will enable the youth be more confident to not only access the credit, but also expand their businesses.
Two members of the team have had the opportunity to work on a PEP, to interact with PEP on a project, a very recent project. We studied the universal primary education policy, looking at optimizing returns from the universal primary education. It was a retrospective study. So PEP was really instrumental in getting us to use our data optimally. And we were impressed by the amount of work we could do with the data that existed. That was beautiful. This time, we hope more to learn from PEP how to apply a real-life trial to a policy question in a prospective manner, because we intend to use the information to influence a policy that is going to be rolled out. So we hope to learn more about the technical side of a real-life trial in a policy arena, but also how we can use this information to change policy, to influence policy, disseminate it in a manner that will actually affect the policy dialogue.
I think you also need to note the fact that the kind of study we are going to do is something that has not been done in Uganda. The kind of methodology we are going to use is not something that has been, utilized in policy interventions in Uganda. So this will be a great opportunity to not only be the first to try it out and use the methodology, but also be able to influence policy and at the end of the day have economic development for our country. In a way, it's going to actually be more of a capacity building for the people who will be working on the team, and of course those who will be benefiting from the research.